The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when nerdy Ned gets dumped, he hightails it back to his hometown.
Look, it's a belly button ring!
And licks his wounds with Singapore slings and strippers.
I think it's time we call it.
Let's call it a good time!
But when Ned gets cozy with the hottest dancer in the club,
Hell no.
trouble comes knocking.
Bingo.
Leading detectives to a body rotting in the parking lot of the local casino.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wow.
Laverne, Michigan, 2000. In a small town outside of Detroit, an employee of the casino and lounge, Michigan Casinos, notices a strange smell coming from the parking lot.
Oh, gee whiz, that's right.
Jerry, a longtime employee of the casino, tracks the scent to a fancy sports car. Unable to open the trunk, he calls the Laverne Sheriff's Department. Detective Pam Laurel arrives on the scene.
Unseasonably warm weather there, eh, Pammy?
That it is, Jerry.
And attempts to jimmy open the lock.
Thinking it might be a deer or something, seeing it's the end of deer season. Oh, jeez. Oh, wow.
But instead of a rotting deer carcass, Detective Laurel finds a body. And it's human.
Doesn't smell too nice there, does it?
The body has begun to decompose, and the face has been bludgeoned beyond recognition.
It's the middle of winter in the northeastern United States, so the killer probably thought the body would stay frozen, at least for another month or two, till they could figure out what to do with it. But if the weatherman can't predict the weather with certainty, a careless killer can't either.
No ID.
And a decaying corpse rotting away in a small, hot space
Oh, wow.
can be a dead giveaway that there's a new murder in town.
When Detective Laurel runs the license plate, she discovers the car belongs to a local man by the name of Ned. Ned is a socially awkward computer nerd who desperately wants to party with the cool kids. Up until a year ago, he was a happily married Silicon Valley tech whiz, until his wife of 5 years had an affair with the plumber and divorced him. Her wealthy family paid him loads of cash to get out of town. He returned to his childhood home, wealthy but emotionally distraught.
Excuse me. Hi.
Back home, Ned wallows in self-pity, trying to console himself with liquor and beautiful women.
Now, what's your name?
It's human nature to want to console yourself after you get dumped. I get it. You pick your poison, indulge a little, then get back on your feet. But when you hit rock bottom and stay there, you tend to make some pretty bad decisions, and those decisions can come back to haunt you in ways you never dreamed of.
Unable to track Ned after finding a dead body in the trunk of his car,
Pam?
Lauren, it's been a while.
Yeah, I'd say close to senior prom.
Detective Laurel brings his brother in for questioning.
How's Cheryl?
She's good. How's Wayne?
Good.
Lorne is the local pastor
We're looking for Ned.
and is well known for his good deeds in the community.
You know, after the divorce, Cheryl and we opened our hearts and our homes to Ned. Then he started hanging out with that rough crowd, you know. So Cheryl and I said, you gotta go.
Lorne admits that Ned has been going on benders since he returned home. And it's not uncommon for him to lose touch with his family for days or even weeks.
I hate to break it to you, Lauren, but we found a rotten body in the back of Ned's trunk.
Oh, did you now?
Yep. So, do you think he's capable of murder?
Detective Laurel is looking at two possibilities right now. Ned's either on a bender and has no idea where his car is, much less who's in his trunk, or he's gotten mixed up with some bad folks who've gotten him into a, shall we say, compromising position.
Detective Laurel shows Lorne a belly button ring found on the body in the trunk.
Oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. This is Ned's.
Huh.
Well, where'd you find this?
I can't say.
So Lorne's basically identified the body. Sure, we still need an autopsy to confirm, but 9 out of 10 times, if the belly button ring fits, see where I'm going? So now Detective Laurel has to figure out who would want to kill this geeky nouveau riche wannabe.
According to Lorne, Ned continued to party into the wee hours of the morning,
Lorne!
while Lorne continued to rescue him.
Awesome! What are you doing here?
You called me, Ned.
Right. Oh, look, it's a belly button ring!
Jeez, Ned. I think it's time we call it.
Let's call it a good time! Jesus. Get it? A good time!
Ned, wake up. Ned,
Ned starts hanging out with strippers regularly
here, drink this.
and proceeds to drink himself into oblivion night after night. Hoping to save his brother from eternal damnation, Lorne formulates a plan to get Ned into rehab and clean up his act.
What do you say we go down to Florida, just the two of us? Soak up some sun.
Lorne has been in touch with a rehab facility just outside of Disneyland and is hoping once they arrive, he can persuade Ned to check himself in.
Just us brothers, living at large.
Yeah, maybe we can check out some clubs on the way. Hmm?
Sure.
All right.
I'll book it.
Great. Well, let's have a drink to celebrate.
Okay. Okay.
Later that day, Lorne sets to work planning their trip to Florida.
What's this? Dry and Mighty Rehab Facility. We use the Holy Spirits to help release your loved ones from their demons.
Brother, you need help.
You need help. You're brainwashed with all this religious crap. You think you're so much better than everybody else. Why don't you just have fun for once?
The last thing an addict wants when they're about to hit rock bottom is some do-gooder religious dude trying to save him. At least that's the way Ned's looking at it. But when you back a wild animal into a corner, someone tends to get hurt. So Lorne better watch his almighty ass.
Ned, it's Lorne. Call me. I said I was sorry.
Lorne tries for the next couple of days to get in touch with Ned, but Ned refuses to take his calls. A week after their fight, Lorne finally decides to confront Ned. But when he knocks on the door,
Da?
an unknown woman answers.
Is Ned home?
No, he went to Florida.
Who are you?
I'm Ned's friend. He wanted me to house sit for him while he's away.
He couldn't go on the trip. I have the tickets.
What? That doesn't make sense. I dropped him off at the airport.
Now officially investigating a homicide, Detective Laurel searches Ned's house.
Would you look at that?
She finds a small trace of blood on a cat statue.
Bingo.
Luminol reveals pools of blood that have been hastily cleaned up.
With that amount of blood at the scene of the crime, Detective Laurel knows that Ned was likely dead long before he made it into the trunk of his car. Now she's got to figure out who put him there and why.
It also reveals a handprint
Finding a handprint at a murder scene is like winning big at the roulette table. It is a good high. The killers essentially left a calling card, but Ned was hanging out with the underbelly of society in the form of drug dealers and strippers. So tracking down the perp is like looking for a belly button ring in a haystack. You know what I'm saying?
So, forensic testing confirms the blood belongs to Ned.
Detective Laurel brings Ned's mysterious new house sitter in for questioning. Her name is Karina.
We believe that you're the last person to see him alive, so I wanted to bring you in for some fingerprints.
But why?
Well, it's just a standard procedure. I just want to rule you out.
Okay. But, you know, I could never hurt Neddy.
This little doohickey here is for the fingerprints.
Karina tells Detective Laurel that after emigrating from Russia, she got a job dancing at the most popular strip club in town, the Pole Vault. She uses the cash she earned from stripping to put herself through school to become a mortician.
You've got beautiful hands.
Realizing Ned isn't one of the usual meatheads on Perv Row, Karina feels sorry for him and shares a drink.
You've got beautiful. You got beautiful.
Thankful for the attention, Ned buys her drinks all night.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hello.
Soon, Ned is spending all of his money on Karina
How was your day?
It's been a good day. How was your day?
Very good. Shopping.
and invites her to live rent-free at his house.
I can stay?
Please.
Oh, Ned, you're the best. You're just the best.
Karina's a clever girl who saw Ned as an easy mark and set out to get him. She's been around the block once or twice, and she knows that vulnerable guys with loads of money and time on their hands are just looking for a pretty girl and lots of attention. A seasoned gold digger like Karina can deliver on that with one hand tied behind her back. Now, some people may call girls like Karina opportunists, but in my line of work, we call them something else: suspects.
When the fingerprint analysis comes in, the results are damning.
So, your fingerprints were found all over the crime scene.
But I live there.
They were found in Ned's blood. Give me your hand. What'd I tell you?
Боже, помоги мне. It wasn't me. But I know he did it.
Karina knows she's done for. The imprint of her palm is literally written in Ned's blood, but Karina's a hustler who could talk a dying man out of his last breath. So there's no telling what tale she'll tell.
Blood evidence puts Karina, a stripper at the pole vault, at the scene of Ned's murder.
What happened, Karina?
Unable to deny she was there, she dishes to Detective Laurel.
Любовь моя, this is my friend Vlad.
Vlad is a Russian gangster who loves to gamble. He's always had a taste for the finer things in life,
Hi.
but he'd rather use other people's money to get it.
This is my friend Neddy.
Good to meet you.
Karina admits that she and her boyfriend Vlad have been scamming Ned since he walked into the club.
In reality, Vlad's a Russian gangster wannabe who's hooked up with his stripper girlfriend to make an easy buck at other people's expense. He lives by the motto, why do the work when others will do it for you? We'll see how that works out for him.
Karina and Vlad keep their relationship a secret so that Karina can gain Ned's trust, steal his money,
I love you.
and ultimately fund their expensive gambling habit. Once they're alone, Karina puts their plan into action. The drug knocks Ned out for a good hour. Vlad steals his bank card. Karina gives him Ned's PIN number, and he withdraws money from Ned's account, while Karina deletes the bank alerts from his inbox. When Vlad returns, he puts Ned's bank cards in his wallet, and they continue partying. No one the wiser.
Place your bets.
Karina and Vlad begin to rely on their gift horse, regularly knocking Ned out,
And no more bets.
stealing his money, and using it to fuel their gambling binges.
Because Ned spends most of his waking hours drunk, he has no idea which end is up, much less how much money is left in his bank account. Whenever he looks at his balance, which is pretty much never at this point, he just assumes he's the one who made the withdrawals, which is exactly what Karina and Vlad want him to believe.
Karina thinks they've got it made in the shade. Until
Lapuchka, what's wrong?
I miss Lauren. I think I should go to rehab.
But you don't have a problem.
I'm thinking you might be right, and I think I should go.
concerned they won't be able to rip Ned off if he gets sober, a panicked Karina calls Vlad.
We have a problem. He wants to go to rehab. What are we gonna do?
They decide to cash in one last time before Ned leaves for rehab.
He fell asleep before I could drag him. We'll have to wait. What are we gonna do?
Karina and Vlad have figured out a timeline that basically ensures they won't get caught. With the sleeping pill, they can guarantee Ned will be passed out for an hour, more than enough time to do the deed. But if Ned falls asleep on his own, that means he can wake up on his own, which messes up their foolproof plan.
Talk to me.
I'll deal with it.
And by foolproof, I mean haphazard and designed by fools.
Where is he?
In his bedroom.
But Vlad, unwilling to miss their final opportunity to scam Ned,
No. No.
goes full steam ahead.
Nazi para.
Stay here, котик.
Vlad plans to hit Ned over the head, knocking him out just long enough to rob him.
What are you doing?
Come back here! No!
I'll choke you!
What happened?
He woke up.
So you killed him?
So Vlad's brilliant plan of knocking Ned out for an hour pretty much went belly up. Now, instead of wondering where their next mark is coming from, they got to figure out how to get rid of a body. All you people out there who are thinking about this line of work, this is how dumb people become dumb killers.
If you tell anyone, you're gonna be the next one.
You clean this up, and I'll get him in the car.
Vlad has gone from gangsta wannabe to full-fledged murderer, and Karina is afraid he'll have no problem crossing the line again. This, my friends, is how you become an accessory after the fact. You may not have killed the dude or even wanted it to happen, but if you don't report it, you're going down just as hard as the perpetrator who did it.
Sure. She's lying.
I have nothing to do with Nerd dying. She gave him too many sleeping pills and he OD'd.
Huh.
In my experience, when you have two criminals looking down the barrel of a murder charge, you can usually count on them pointing the finger at each other. Call it self-preservation at all costs.
So you're saying you had nothing to do with Ned's death?
Конечно нет. Hell no.
You're gonna stick with that story then?
The autopsy report reveals that Ned died of blunt force trauma to the head, and there were no drugs found in his system.
I'm done talking.
Vlad looks like he just heard the words checkmate. But here's the problem. Detective Laurel's got two different stories from two unreliable witnesses. So what do you do when both of your suspects are pointing the finger at each other? Well, you follow the evidence, because it doesn't lie.
Looking for a break in the murder case of local tech whiz Ned, who was found dead in the trunk of his car, Detective Laurel reviews the CCTV footage of the parking garage at the casino.
Would you look at that?
It shows Karina and Vlad driving Ned's car into the parking lot. The footage also shows Karina and Vlad losing thousands at the roulette table and repeatedly withdrawing money from the casino's ATM.
Well, I'll be damned.
Ned's bank records show the withdrawals made from the casino ATM are from his checking account.
Detective Laurel can be pretty sure it's not Ned withdrawing his own money because he's dead as a doornail. She can also be pretty sure that Karina was a willing participant in this ruse because she's hanging out with Vlad, gambling and partying like it's 1999.
So, what'd you think there, Karina?
I had no choice. I only helped Vlad dispose the body. I swear on my life I did not kill him.
After cleaning up Ned's blood and accidentally leaving her palm print on the floor, they sneak Ned's body out of the house.
Hey, Ned. How you doing? Hi there. How's it going? Everything all right, Ned?
Yeah, all good.
We gotta go.
Come on.
Karina and Vlad think Ned's body will stay frozen until they can figure out where to hide it permanently.
More, honey. More. Just put more.
In the meantime, they party hard. Well, unbeknownst to them, poor old Ned is decomposing in the trunk.
Okay, more.
Money.
Unfortunately for these two winners, they didn't check the weather. So a sunny day in February turns out to be their downfall. Karma's a killer.
Nenia, fishu idiot. Руки де моя посмотри.
What are you talking? Shut up. You should give him more pills.
It is all your fault.
Stupid woman. Come on, go away.
You are stupid.
You stupid.
You killed him with a bottle.
Wake up.
Karina and Vlad are both arrested. Vlad is sentenced to life in prison for murder, fraud, and robbery. Karina receives 25 years for accessory to murder, fraud, and robbery.
Karina and Vlad gambled big time and lost. They thought they could get away with using Ned and his money for the foreseeable future, but when he threatened to get sober, they saw their money train coming to an abrupt halt and they chose to keep it running at any cost. But by acting impulsively, they made a fatal mistake and crossed the line from common criminal to killer. They took the life of a lonely tech whiz whose only fault was drowning his sorrows to heal his broken heart. Karina and Vlad took advantage of the poor sap, but got busted by a bright, sunny day. There's a little bit of poetry in that, don't you think?
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders.
Some of the cards are worth a lot of money.
Like how much?
When three young men suddenly leave town,
No way.
a friend is convinced something is terribly wrong.
Gone. Disappeared.
But there's no evidence of foul play and no reason for detectives to investigate until a regular beat cop starts asking questions.
Well, feeling a bit sorry for ourselves, are we?
And makes a chilling discovery. Will his determination to uncover the truth pay off? Or will someone get away with murder?
Oh, no.
Go on, bro.
Simon and Seth are close-knit brothers, less than a year apart in age, who live for football. Simon's a respected quarterback, while Seth plays wide receiver. They easily made it into college on full sports scholarships. The brothers went to the same high school as Aiden, but they came from different social crowds.
It's a lot easier to catch it than to toss it, I think.
See that.
But they did have some things in common.
1, 2, 3.
Nice. I'd say that's a touchdown.
Namely, smoking grass.
You smell?
Nice.
And fantasy card games.
You tell anyone about this, and your ass is grass.
That's funny, grass.
And any of your subhuman compadres mess with me, your pot supply suddenly gets stuck at the border.
Harsh talk, dude.
Yeah, that's my game, folks. Don't take it so harsh, gentlemen. Consolation prize. Here are your math assignments.
Nice. Cheers to that, baby.
Sweet. One more, folks?
I know what you're thinking. Why would these guys be hanging out together? We all know high school is a pressure cooker full of competing cliques. Come to think of it, it's a lot like law enforcement. But that same environment can produce some surprising friendships. And when you've got something in common, like gaming, brains and brawn can get along just fine.
From the moment they had thrown their first football, the brothers had dreamed of making it to the NFL. But they got blindsided in their final year when they didn't make the draft pick. And now they've come back home, tails between their legs, to live with their mother, Michelle, and figure out what to do with their lives. Unlike his jock buddies, Aiden never went to college. He didn't have to. After high school, he got a high-paying job programming an online version of Demon Rap, his favorite game. It's a far cry from his years as a lonely geek teenager. He's got money, a career, and the respect of the programming community. The only trace of his high school days is a lingering anxiety. But instead of pot, he now relies on designer medication to keep himself level.
Can't believe we haven't seen this dude since high school, bro.
Wonder if he's still into that awesome fantasy card game.
Probably, bro. You know, here's got a stack of money now. Apparently he's some big-time computer guy.
So what do you think?
is a really nice place.
Thank you.
Doing well for yourself, man.
Oh, there's something you folks have to see. Do you remember this?
Whoa, dude, blast from the past.
See, bro, I knew it. The cool card game. So you still collect these Demon Wrath cards?
Oh, yeah, I've got hundreds now. Some of them worth a lot of money.
Like how much?
Thousands, my friend. So, ready to slay some demons?
Totally.
All right.
Do you have anything to smoke, though?
Are you serious? Nah, I gave that up a while ago.
The brothers spend the summer trying to find executive positions in the sports industry. But the best they can get are retail jobs at a local sporting goods store.
Turn those frowns upside down, boys.
It's just until something better comes along.
When's that gonna happen, Mom?
We can still coach, bro.
Coaching's for losers, bro. No, this sucks, bro. We should be driving 4x4s right now.
Yeah, you said it, bro.
Well, 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 if it isn't the football brothers. So this is what a college degree looks like, is it?
No, sir.
Feeling a bit sorry for ourselves, are we?
No, sir, we were just...
Listen, you boys listen to me. I played college ball too. I didn't make it to the big time either. But did I loiter around? No. I made something of myself. So just pull up your jock straps and make your mother proud.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now scram.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next time I won't be so understanding.
Officer O'Farrell is one of those cops who just loves to walk his beat. He grew up in this neck of the woods and he's been patrolling it for decades. He never made detective because he never wanted to. His place is in the streets, I get that, looking out for the citizens. He knows everyone and everyone knows him. And don't let that lowly rank fool you. A good beat cop sees all and knows all.
Okay, guys, let's take a break. I have something you guys have to see. You know what this is? Gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to the Big Beast. It is the most valuable Demon Wrath card in existence. There are only 5 in the world.
Oh, it looks awesome, dude.
How much is it worth?
25,000. It's a brave new world, gentlemen. The geek shall inherit the earth. Oh, wait, we already have.
For the brothers, it's shocking that someone with only a high school diploma could be making that much money.
25 large on a gaming card? It's pretty outrageous, isn't it? It makes the brothers think about just how much things have changed since high school. Those Friday night lights are a memory, and so far a college education hasn't gotten them anywhere close to the kind of cash their buddy Aiden is throwing around. It makes the brothers think pretty hard about their future prospects. I mean, they can't sell football cleats and shoulder pads forever. In their minds, they're playing on the losing team.
Aiden's best friend is Bree.
Hey,
Like the brothers, she's just graduated college. She's opening her own comic book store in the neighborhood with a little help from Aiden's extensive collection.
what's on your mind?
I don't know. Just after seeing the brothers makes me think that some people peak in high school, that's it for them. I don't want to be one of those guys. And I think I'm gonna move downtown. I can afford it now. I can get out of the suburbs.
Are you sure? It's a big step and I miss you.
I don't know, I'm thinking about it. I gotta go.
When Bree shows up with Aiden's medication the following day, he isn't home. But the door is open, and it looks like he left in a hurry.
What the hell? No way. I think they were the last ones to see Aiden.
Oh. Michelle explains that her sons are storing some of Aiden's stuff while he moves downtown, but she hasn't seen them today.
Moving? Already, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Aiden told his friend Bree was thinking of leaving the suburbs, but he didn't say anything about pulling a fly-by-night vanishing act. And she knows Aiden can't go for very long without his meds. Something is definitely wrong with this picture. Bree knows it, and she's gonna do something about it.
When Bree discovers Aiden has abruptly left town with his jock friends, Simon and Seth, she tries to file a missing person report.
Officer O'Farrell, I need to talk to you about Aiden.
Aiden, how's your whiz kid friend?
He's gone. Disappeared.
Bree explains about Aiden missing their date. She says he relies on his anxiety medication and he would never just leave town without telling her.
It does seem a little odd. I'm sure everything's fine. Those football brothers are probably a bad influence on him. I'll look into it.
Now, even if it's unexpected, Aiden taking off is not enough to launch a missing persons investigation. It's strange, but it doesn't look like any crime has been committed. And O'Farrell, he isn't a detective anyway, but he knows Aiden, just like he knows everyone else in the neighborhood, and it seems out of character. He can't technically investigate, but if you've been in law enforcement long enough, you know there are ways to, let's just say, make inquiries without it being exactly official.
For the next 3 days, Officer O'Farrell uses the detective squad computer to monitor Aiden's bank and cell phone activity. But curiously, there isn't any.
In my experience, people take off for all sorts of reasons. But here we have a guy who medicates for anxiety, who skipped town without telling his best friend, whose phone is set to radio silence, and who doesn't seem to be spending any money. As an investigator, that's what I call cause for alarm. But who knows why people do what they do? Maybe Aiden's off his meds and freaking out somewhere. Maybe it's kidnapping or worse. Or maybe he's taking a few days for himself. You just never know. In any case, time for our beat cop to start asking around the neighborhood.
They just left all this stuff here and took off.
The brother's mother says she hasn't seen her sons since they came home 3 nights ago in a rental van full of Aiden's belongings. They told her they were helping Aiden move and needed to store some of his stuff temporarily.
Do you remember the name of the rental company?
Yes. Excess baggage. You know, Officer O'Farrell, boys will be boys, but this is ridiculous. Do you know their boss keeps calling?
Did you see or talk to Aiden at all?
No.
Officer O'Farrell learns that Aiden rented the moving van the night before Bree went to his house, but it wasn't returned to the same lot he rented it from. He thinks if he locates the van, he might find Aiden and the brothers.
What are you boys up to?
The van was returned to another company lot, miles away in the city.
Oh, boy.
Blood is the last thing Officer O'Farrell was expecting to find. He notifies the detective squad of the blood evidence, and it's sent to the lab for testing.
Whenever I'm looking for someone who's gone AWOL, I know the chances are they'll turn up safe and sound eventually because statistically that's what usually happens. But there's nothing like signs of violence to smack down that assumption. For Officer O'Farrell, that van's not just a clue to where the boys might be, it's a possible crime scene.
Two days after sending the blood sample to the lab, he gets a call from the brother's mother.
Well, they're here, safe and sound, and in a lot of trouble. Do you know they got fired from their jobs for not showing up this week?
So, lads, where you been?
The brothers tell Officer O'Farrell that when Aiden decided to ditch the suburbs for the city, he'd asked them to store his precious collections of comics and game cards. Then they drove him to Chicago and dropped him off at an L station downtown. That was the last they'd seen of him.
That was 5 days ago. Did you walk back from here?
Well, Aiden paid us a lot of money to move his stuff.
So we decided to party a bit. Another round of brewskis.
Bro, this place is filled with geeks, and there's not even a TV anywhere.
Okay, don't worry about it. Hey, beer over here.
The brothers say they bar hopped into the night and crashed in a hotel until Aiden's money ran out. Then they'd taken the train back home.
Which hotel? Where downtown was it?
Can't really remember. We were drinking a lot.
Simon, Seth, go outside and play ball or something, okay? I'll deal with you later. Officer O'Farrell. I didn't want to say anything when the boys were here, but I wanted to show you this. That's Arnie Sullivan's signature from 1948.
Michelle says her sons brought the signed football back from Chicago as a gift for her, but they'd forgotten to remove the $2,000 price tag.
That's pretty generous for two guys with no dough. O'Farrell thinks our boys know way more about what happened to Aiden than they're letting on. If it were me, I'd haul him down to the station, right? Wrong. Because this is the kind of situation cops everywhere dread. It looks really fishy, but the problem is, it could all have a perfectly reasonable explanation. Aiden could be trooping around Chicago looking for a new pad. So our patrolman has no grounds to arrest anyone. He's gonna need some evidence if he wants to color the bros.
Officer O'Farrell examines the security footage from the parking lot where he found the van. But even though it was rented in Aiden's name, Aiden himself is nowhere to be seen.
Just doesn't add up. Those boys are hiding something.
It's suspicious enough for the detective squad to arrange a search warrant for the brothers' house.
What's your recipe?
Just chocolate, bananas, just throw a little bit of vanilla in there.
Open up, boys. Come on now.
After the boys leave, Officer O'Farrell searches the property and discovers marijuana. Which gives him an idea.
Oh, no. O'Farrell here. Possible 187.
Okay, so there's nothing conclusive tying the brothers to Aiden's death. But he didn't get into that dumpster by himself, and they were probably the last people to see him alive. Not to mention, they took off when the cops arrived to search their house. And my guess is that Dumb and Dumber put Aiden in the dumpster because it was the only place they could think of. But it's all circumstantial. O'Farrell needs hard proof the brothers did this, or better yet, a confession, if he can find them.
With the discovery of Aiden's body, the missing person case has become a murder investigation. The last people known to have seen him are his friends, Simon and Seth, and they're now wanted for questioning. As the police put out an all-points bulletin on the brothers, Officer O'Farrell asks Aiden's friend Bree for help.
The coroner said it was blunt force trauma to the head.
I knew they had something to do with it. Those meatheads.
What are these? I found some in the van as well. Some kind of game?
A fantasy game. Aiden collected those. Some of them are worth a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money.
The boys are probably selling them. Any idea where?
Look, in our scene, we do some on-the-side business sometimes. It's not always legit.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot, too.
Hello, boys.
End zone, bro. Bro!
How's the washroom?
Let's go, boys. Look, boys, it's the last down, and you got a lot of yardage to cover. You better start talking.
Honestly, sir, we didn't do anything.
But we fumbled. It's game over.
We were just selling cards.
Selling those cards to pay for a one-way trip out of town by the looks of it.
Just wanted the big beast. Shut up.
The big what?
Big beast to sell.
Seth tells Officer O'Farrell that they were hanging out with Aiden playing Demon Wrath.
You gonna bring out that big beast card and slay our asses or what?
No way, it's too powerful. That just wouldn't be playing fair.
You know what's not playing fair? You having all sorts of money while we slave away. It ain't right. We went to college, man.
Well, easy, bro.
Whatever.
Let's cool our jets, guys. Gonna go make some more tea.
I need another beer. We're out of brewskis. Go grab us a six-pack at the store.
Hey. What's going on?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Put it back.
You mean this?
Put the beast back.
Make me. Oh, you must really love the beast, huh?
No, give it back! Now, normally, Aiden's a laid-back guy, but he's also a collector, and when it comes to their stuff, collectors are a special kind of protective. That big beast card is Aiden's prized possession, and he ain't gonna let it go without a fight.
Too bad you suck at fighting.
Give it back, you mouth breather! That's it. I'm gonna call the cops.
You call me a mouth breather, bro.
I've seen 100 homicide situations like this one. Simon didn't plan to kill his buddy. He just wanted that card. But there was more to it than what the card was actually worth. It also symbolized everything he thought was unfair about his life. No money, no success, no future. I mean, why should some geek like Aiden have it all, right? Add some booze to that envy and frustration, and you've got a recipe for rage. And when Aiden actually fought back, well, it pushed Simon over the edge.
I don't know about this, bro.
Shut up.
Seth tells Officer O'Farrell that they knew Aiden was thinking about leaving the suburbs. So they rented a van using Aiden's credit card and tried to make it look like they were helping him move downtown. After dumping Aiden's body and stashing his belongings at their mother's house, they drove into Chicago with the valuable Demon Wrath cards. They'd managed to sell most of the cards at different gaming stores, but no one could afford the Big Beast until the store owner directed them to the Dragon's Hoard, a black market bar where collectors do business out of sight of the taxman.
Speakeasies, illegal poker parlors, motels selling stolen firearms. I've seen it all, but gaming cards and comic books? Hey, why should the geeks be left out of the black market after all? And if two jocks stumble in with the geek equivalent of Jimmy Hoffa's wristwatch looking to sell, well, business is business. But the brothers are now like all crooks with a suitcase full of money. They have a problem. What to do with it? After blowing a stack on an epic bender like they all do, they go back to their mama's house. I mean, what else would these knuckleheads do?
I knew coming home was the wrong play.
Shut up, bro.
This whole thing was a bad play from start to finish. But you'll have plenty of time to think about where you went wrong.
Simon is convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Seth is convicted on accessory charges and gets 15 years.
So this tale of a geek and his two jock friends didn't exactly turn out well. Maybe it was inevitable that they'd grow apart, but then envy reared its ugly head, and Aiden's success pushed the brothers over the line of scrimmage and into murder. With all that cash from Aiden's game cards, our boys thought they were dancing in the end zone. But they were just too dumb to know they'd never get away with it, and they really didn't count on some humble beat cop taking them down. So next time you want to commit murder, at least make sure you have a game plan. Better yet, don't make the play at all, because chances are you'll wind up like our dim-witted bros. For them, it's game over for good.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, in a sleepy German town, a love triangle turns nasty.
No! Stefan! Schwein! You bastard!
And jealous passions take over.
Nine.
Schwein! But who's to blame for the desperate act of a scorned lover?
Get out! Out!
The investigators are going to have to use more than their gut to figure this case out.
I think we've all had enough bratwurst for the time being.
Luke and Ingrid got married straight out of high school. At first, their marriage was everything Ingrid had dreamed of. But when they weren't able to have kids, that dream started to die. Luke is Wurzburg's most successful taxidermist. His obsession with stuffing dead animals knows no end.
Here you go.
Danke.
Ingrid becomes increasingly restless and resentful of being Luke's caretaker.
Maybe we could rent out the spare bedroom, you know, to make some extra money.
Yeah.
To add to the tension, the couple's expenses become increasingly overwhelming.
I'm Stefan. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I'm Luke.
Ingrid.
Pleasure to meet you, Ingrid.
Stefan is a cheesemaker from the neighboring town of Schweinfurt. He's renting out Luke and Ingrid's spare room so he can scout out the local marketplace in advance of Oktoberfest.
Hello.
Hello? I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Of course not. Please, come in.
I just wanted to make sure that everything is okay.
Leticia, yeah. I make it myself.
Luke's fixation with his dead animals keeps him at his shop 24/7, leaving Ingrid alone in the apartment with Stefan. It doesn't take long for them to strike up a friendship and turn the heat up in the kitchen.
Another breakfast?
Yes. Another sausage, please.
I want you, Stefan. I want to put mustard all over you and eat you up.
Stefan is 10 years younger than Ingrid and makes her feel young and sexy all over again.
Luke?
Kiss me, Stefan.
In all my years at the FBI, I never saw any cases where a bored housewife looking for excitement led to any problems. Never at all. I'm kidding, of course. There was actually one case at the FBI where it led to a quadruple homicide involving the eating of a human corpse. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I mean, I hate those cases.
With Luke burning the midnight oil every night, Ingrid and Stefan's affair kicks into high gear, turning the apartment into a bona fide sex den.
Do you like stick them?
I love it.
Nine.
Swine!
Get out of my house, you swine!
Stefan moves out the next day, and Luke and Ingrid try to put the pieces of their marriage back together.
Stefan means nothing to me. It's over. It's you that I love, Sneaky.
Are you sure you still want to be with me? Is the man who stuffs dead animals?
Yeah.
With a new apartment in town, Stefan settles into life in Würzburg, and the two lovers continue their illicit affair. This time, far away from Luke's prying eyes.
I get it. Being bad gives you a rush. Is that how it goes? The problem is that you've got to keep that rush going. And in my experience, that usually leads to escalating the situation and creating even more danger. It's never a good idea. I'm so sorry.
Stefan's cheese business is taking off, and he's riding high. Life gets even better when he meets Hannah, the most young and attractive bratwurst maker the world has ever seen.
Guten Tag.
Hello.
Bratwurst.
Jeez.
Anna.
Stefan.
Stefan and Hannah hit it off from the get-go, and within no time at all, start a whirlwind romance. A month into their relationship, Stefan invites Hannah to move in with him.
My little schnitzel.
Little.
Not so little.
But Stefan hasn't yet told his new lover about Ingrid. That is, until he's forced to.
Whatever happened to having just one girlfriend and being pretty damn happy with that? Stefan's got a real Mick Jagger thing going on with all these irons in the fire. I get it. The ladies like him and all, but something tells me this ain't gonna end well. Achtung, Stefan, Achtung.
You Hurensohn! Stefan! Schweins! You bastard!
For the past 3 months, Ingrid has been having an affair with young buck Stefan.
Why were you kissing some young schlumper?
But when she discovers she's not the only woman in his life,
How dare you!
she goes berserk.
Ingrid, keep your voice down. Hannah, don't go. Ingrid, it is over. Okay? I'm in love with Hannah now.
It's fine.
I would not want to be in Stefan's shoes right now. A woman scorned is a, well, let's say, hell hath no fury.
What is going on? Who was that?
Okay, we had an affair. I don't know. She's obsessed with me. She's crazy. She can't accept that it's over. Forgive me, please. I can't live without you. I promise things are over with Ingrid.
Tu swear?
Man, can this guy talk his way out of anything or what? Unreal.
So how's the magazine, sweetie?
It is enjoying the dishes.
It is my pleasure, my love.
Stefan works tirelessly to earn back Hannah's trust. And before long, their relationship is back on track.
I was waiting for your call all day long, Stefan.
I'm sorry, my love. I was busy making cheese.
But Stefan isn't a one-woman kind of guy.
You went with that young tramp Hannah, were you?
I told you we broke it off. I only want you, my little strudel.
And keeps his affair with Ingrid
I want you too.
well and alive.
Can I come over?
No. I'll come to you and kiss you all over.
I cannot wait. My sexy sausage.
This Stefan is a real piece of work, a total dog. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too, but it looks like this cake might bite back, and it won't be a sweet and delicious kind of bite either. You're following my cake metaphor, right?
Ingrid?
Hannah? What are you doing here?
I should ask the same question of you. I live here?
You what?
Yeah. Get out! Out!
Hannah and Ingrid leave the encounter stunned. Can you imagine being in either one of their shoes? Stefan's got some explaining to do, and it better not be mansplaining.
Ingrid is crazy. I swear.
You know she came by the house today? How can you explain that to me? You swear you haven't been in contact with her?
No. Not since the argument in the tent. I promise. Okay? She's crazy. I I swear. I'm gonna call her and tell her to never come by here ever again.
I don't know, Stefan.
Hannah isn't sure what to believe, but takes Stefan's word. For now.
Jeez Louise, seriously, some guys have all the luck. Sure, Stefan is a good-looking dude, but man, oh man, Hannah is way too trusting as far as I'm concerned. Stefan better watch out because he's built a real house of cards with all these lies. And you pull one card out and boom, the whole thing comes down.
Fine, I hate him.
Enraged, Hannah decides to take matters into her own hands.
Hello? Stefan, you dead. Ingrid, you lying bitch. Stay away from my man.
Without any mention of her phone call with Ingrid, Hannah moves on as though nothing happened.
How did the batch of Limburger turn out?
Stinkier than the last batch.
How was the breakfast?
Delicious as always, my love. A little spicy, too.
As Stefan finishes up his third bratwurst,
You okay, Schnucky?
it's more than just his heartburn that starts to fire up.
It's okay. It's okay. That's it. Let it out. Let it out. Okay. It's okay. Breathe. Hello? Police? My boyfriend has become violently ill.
I can't feel my legs and my arms, Hannah. Help me. Help me. And I can't see. I can't see.
Help! Help! Stay with me. Stay with me. Stefan?
At the hospital, the medical team tries desperately to bring Stefan back to life.
No.
But it's all in vain.
Wake up, Stefan.
He dies on the hospital gurney, mere hours after he started choking.
Stefan's body went into complete shock, and his system did everything it could to reject whatever foreign substance was causing the breakdown. I'm guessing this isn't just a bad case of too much bratwurst.
Due to the strange nature of his death, an autopsy is performed on Stefan's body, and the toxicology report reveals the presence of a substance called oleander, found in the bratwurst.
Is that so? Oleander.
For those of you not in the know, oleander is a plant used in homeopathic medicines for pain relief. But if overconsumed, high doses will stop the heart and other internal organs from working, which is bad. After severe vomiting, you'll feel like your mouth is on fire. Then you'll lose all feeling in your limbs. Your breathing becomes slower and slower, and your heartbeat will eventually stop. But the real kicker is your mind remains completely lucid throughout, so you get to experience your own personal nightmare in real time with complete clarity. It really is the worst.
With oleander being such a rare substance, it's likely that Stefan was deliberately poisoned, and Hannah is Detective Wolfgang's #1 suspect.
So, Fräulein, do you care to tell me why there was this rare poison called oleander found in the bratwurst you served Stefan?
Poison? Why would I poison Stefan? I love him. We were going to spend the rest of our lives together.
I'm curious to know, how did the poison get into the sausage?
I don't know. You should ask that crazy lady Ingrid.
Ingrid?
She was a taxidermist's wife. They were having an affair. She was obsessed with him.
And where does this Ingrid live?
I don't know. But I can give you her phone number. This was Stefan's phone. You can see the text message.
Du sagst es nicht.
So you've got the new girlfriend who's learned that her boyfriend was cheating on her with his ex. The boyfriend ends up dead at the hands of a sausage served to him by his new girlfriend, who claims she would never hurt him. This is a classic love triangle with both women having motive to kill him. So the challenge for old Wolfie here is to figure out which of these jealous cuckoo clocks had the opportunity.
Detective Wolfgang brings Ingrid in for questioning.
And how do you know Stefan?
He rented a spare bedroom in my house. It was only for a short time.
Have you seen him since?
No, I barely know him.
But I know all about your affair, my dear. All about it. Look what I found, Fräulein.
Yes, okay, we were lovers, but I would never hurt him. Never. He was the only good thing in my life.
Ingrid tells Detective Wolfgang that when Luke caught them having an affair, he was fueled with rage towards Stefan.
They had a fist fight with each other. It was like two animals in the wild. Very violent.
What do they say about the cycle of violence? It comes back around to get you. Guess that little punch up in the kitchen wasn't such a good idea after all. Don't you think, Luke?
As far as Detective Wolfgang is concerned, the only person with a grudge against Stefan is Luke.
I understand that Stefan filed a police report regarding your fight.
Which now makes Luke the #1 suspect in his death.
He claims that you were the aggressor.
I hated Stefan. Yes, okay. He was sleeping with my wife under my own roof. But I'm not a killer. I'm a taxidermist.
What do you know about oleander? Do you use it for homeopathic purposes? Or perhaps cooking?
I know nothing about poison. Besides, I was at my taxidermy shop the entire day with my partner Klaus.
When Wolfgang interviews Stefan's neighbors, one in particular remembers seeing a strange woman going into his apartment on the day he died.
What did this woman look like? She had long, dark hair, and I would say she was about 30.
You don't say. I'll be damned if that doesn't sound exactly like little old Ingrid. And she was snooping around the victim's house the day he died. That's not suspicious at all, is it? You get my sarcasm there, right? So now we've got motive and opportunity. Just got to prove means, and you got a party.
Oh.
Detective Wolfgang is able to obtain a search warrant.
Standard search warrant.
Based on the neighbor's information.
Going somewhere?
9.
May I see your purse? I'm only asking to be polite. What is this?
It is herbs that my doctor gave me for the pain in my neck. Do you mind?
I don't think so, Fräulein. You'll have to use a more traditional pain medication for the time being.
Wolfgang sends the bag of brown powder he obtained from Ingrid to forensics for testing.
Oleander, are you sure? 99.9%. Dankeschön.
As you know, I'm not a huge fan of coincidences when investigating a crime, especially not when the ex-lover is seen at the home of the victim on the day he was poisoned and they find a bag with the exact rare poison in her purse. That's not what I call a coincidence anymore. That's what I call you look really, really, really guilty.
June 15th, 2000. Please state your name for the record.
Ingrid.
Detective Wolfgang has proven that Ingrid had opportunity and now means, but he still has to prove motive for his case against her in Stefan's murder to be bulletproof.
Listen to me. We have an eyewitness that saw you enter Stefan's apartment on the day of the crime. The powder we took from your purse was deadly poison.
I have nothing to say.
I have tickets to the opera tonight. Why don't you just tell me how you did it and we can all get on with it? Ingrid, this is your chance.
Okay, Mr. Detective. I will tell you.
When Stefan stopped answering Ingrid's calls, she sank into a deep depression. She couldn't imagine her life without Stefan and refused to accept that anyone else could have him if she couldn't.
Guten Tag. What brings you in today?
I need something for the pain in my neck.
Something for the pain. Let me just check.
She went to a homeopathic doctor on the pretense of needing a pain reliever.
Oh yes, oleander. Excellent for the pain, but is known to be deadly in high doses.
Oh.
Be very careful with it.
Then she let herself into Stefan's apartment and put her plan into motion. Ingrid switched Stefan's bratwurst for the one she made at home with a special ingredient. Enough oleander to kill him.
Oleander is bitter, so if you were to mix it in with something bland like a piece of bread, you'd know it right away. But some spicy bratwurst? Now we're talking.
Ingrid, I'm placing you under the arrest for the murder of Stefan.
I will love Stefan forever. He is my spicy bratwurst.
I think we've all had enough bratwurst for the time being.
Ingrid is charged with first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison.
You could say that Stefan had it coming with all the womanizing, but that doesn't mean he deserved to be poisoned to death. In the end, Ingrid was a lonely, bored housewife who let her jealous passion overcome her, and Stefan was the one who paid the price.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, Dylan is living the dream.
I'm killing it.
He has a gorgeous condo, a beautiful fiance,
I'm gonna give you the greatest wedding you've ever seen.
Dylan, I love you.
and a high-paying job at an investment firm downtown. But when his father ends up murdered in his own backyard, the cops come calling. And Dylan's dream life suddenly turns into a nightmare. In an upper-middle-class suburb just outside of Boston, detectives respond to a 911 call.
Hello? There's been an emergency.
A young woman reports that her brother Dylan has just stabbed their father to death with an arrow. Detective O'Reilly arrives to find Dylan relaxing in his backyard.
Detective O'Reilly here. Possible 1054. Victim, arrow through the chest. Are you Dylan?
Yes, sir.
Did you do this?
This kid looks like he just finished a tennis match, not like he just murdered his father in cold blood. In my 25 years as an FBI agent, I have to say I've rarely seen a bow and arrow used as a murder weapon. So I give this guy props for originality. But the real question is, how does a privileged prep school kid end up stabbing his father to death with an arrow in his own backyard? The answer? One pathetic step at a time.
When Dylan's mom dies in childbirth, his father single-handedly raises both he and his twin sister, Madison. Larry builds a successful real estate development business from the ground up. And as a teenager, Dylan lives a charmed life with sports cars and credit cards paid for by his father.
Look, Dad, can we get a move on? I got a date tonight.
This is important, Dylan. Things are going to change around here.
When Dylan and Madison graduate from high school, Larry kicks them out of the nest.
Now that you're adults, you're going to have to make it on your own, just like I did. Build some much-needed character.
Look, that's fine, but how am I going to pay for my car and for my clothes?
And get a job.
A what?
A job, loser. Like to support yourself?
Everything was pretty easy for Dylan in high school. He got by on his looks, his charm, and, oh yeah, on his father's cash. Larry's now trying to teach his children the value of a buck. But the problem with pulling a silver spoon out of someone's mouth is, if they don't have the chutzpah to make it on their own, they can choke.
Dad, check this out.
Madison thrives when she's admitted to Harvard and receives straight A's. Dylan quickly drops out of the local community college and starts on a new plan.
What a bore landscaping company. This is a stupid name.
I've already got 5 clients, and I'm about to sign 3 more.
Dylan, I'm familiar with your big ideas, but can you see this one through?
Yeah, for sure. So can I move back in? I just need a little time to get back on my feet. I'll be out by the end of the year, I promise.
Against his better judgment, Larry relents.
Only 1 year, then you're out.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
But unbeknownst to his father, instead of starting his own business, he gets a job at a movie theater so he can watch films all day long. Now that he's footing the bill instead of Daddy, he falls deep into debt. After 2 weeks on the job, Dylan receives a credit card bill for a whopping $5,000. Then, one afternoon, the movie theater plays a matinee of the latest heist movie, and Dylan gets an idea. He decides to rob convenience stores to make some money.
Wow, what a brilliant idea. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, wait, because it's illegal and stupid, that's why. This guy is living in an alternate reality if he thinks he's going to be able to pull off a robbery like they do in the movies.
But illegal is stupid's middle name.
Go time.
So am I the only one that thinks dressing up like a mime is the epitome of stupid? If you're trying to avoid being caught, painting your face and dressing from head to toe in black and white isn't gonna draw any attention, right?
Just give me the money. The mime is now. Let's go.
I'd like to know what's going on inside this guy's head. On second thought,
Dylan starts robbing convenience stores on a regular basis. He steals $15,000 in 2 weeks and starts living like daddy's footing the bill again. Dylan begins to gain notoriety, which fuels not only his ego, but his confidence. And despite heavy surveillance of corner stores, Dylan remains one step ahead of the cops.
Where are you, you miserable mime?
Making fools of the detectives.
I'll give him this. For a guy who doesn't want to work very hard, making an honest living, Dylan's doing a pretty good job at robbing corner stores. And the fact that the media is covering him only makes him want to keep going. But the reality is, this ruse can only last so long. And when criminals get cocky, detectives get lucky.
After successfully robbing over 15 corner stores, Dylan makes a small mistake and parks too close to a security camera, giving Detective O'Reilly his first real clue. He runs the plates and tracks the vehicle to Dylan.
There you are, you moronic mime.
But when he runs his name through the criminal database, he learns Dylan has no priors. Detective O'Reilly decides to put a tail on him.
O'Reilly's smart to put a tail on Dylan because all he has now is some video footage that's kind of suspicious. Any defense attorney worth their salt could argue reasonable doubt, but if O'Reilly can catch him in the act, he can wipe the smile off the mime's face and put him in the slammer for a long time.
A day later, Dylan strikes again.
Why doesn't anybody get this? Give me the money.
Mime's up, buddy.
Dylan is arrested for armed robbery. But with no prior convictions, the court is lenient and sentences him to 2 years in prison. 2 years later, Dylan is released from prison.
Well, it's just been a couple days since my interview, so I wanted to call and check.
He moves back home, but finds rebuilding his life isn't as easy as he thought.
And you guys have a copy of my resume? Mm-hmm. Well, so what's the problem?
His old friends want nothing to do with him, and his criminal record makes getting a job impossible.
No, that was a long time ago, and it doesn't... You know what, buddy? Screw you.
Frustrated and lonely, Dylan spends most of his time alone. Until one day, he comes up with an idea.
Look, Dad, I have a plan.
Pulling up his bootstraps and determined to make his father proud, Dylan decides to enroll in an online course to become a trader.
They're gonna give me my certification. It's all legit. I need the course fee.
No way.
Come on, Dad. I know I've let you down in the past, but I'm willing to put the work in.
It's against my better judgment.
I'm a new man. I promise you.
Don't you dare screw this up again.
Dylan tells his father he's turned over a new leaf. But sure enough, he's back to his old ways, looking for the easy way out. Dylan skips the certification process and opens up an online trading account.
I'm killing it.
That's the problem with kids like Dylan. They rarely change. Despite the fact that dear old dad wants to believe in his son, the truth is Dylan is a born liar who will do anything to live on Easy Street.
Yes. Hear that, Dad?
At first, Dylan makes a killing, but he spends the money as quick as he makes it.
4 years now?
Yeah, I like it. It's good work.
Out celebrating his newfound success as a trader, he meets Layla, a beautiful real estate agent who's sweet and trusting.
What do you do?
I'm a trader at a big downtown firm. You know, it's high pressure, but big rewards, right?
Wow. Must mean long hours?
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, if you mean long hours, as in sitting in Daddy's dark basement playing on the computer for 18 hours straight, then yeah, I guess he does work long hours.
I still can't believe you've never had oysters ever in your life.
I don't know, they're weird.
No, they're not that weird. And it's an adventure, because you gotta like get in there and get shucking.
A few months later, Layla invites Dylan to move into her expensive condo. Dylan showers Layla with extravagant gifts.
I booked us a trip to the Bahamas.
Dylan, you're spoiling me.
Look through it. There's another surprise, too.
What else could there be?
Dylan, wasting no time, pops the question.
Will you make me the happiest man in the whole world?
Yes.
I'm gonna give you the greatest wedding you've ever seen. It's gonna be amazing.
Dylan, I love you.
It seems that Dylan has put his criminal past behind him and is looking towards the future.
I have to go call your sister.
Go.
Dylan proposed. Oh my God, congrats. Thank you. And I was just wondering if you'd be my maid of honor? Oh, really?
They start to plan the most extravagant wedding this side of Boston.
I was thinking about 350 people. I have tons of cousins on my mom's side, so... Oh, that'd be perfect. Okay, I'll let them know.
It seems like everything is on the right track. Dylan's making money, he's engaged to a nice girl, and his family is happy. But in reality, it's all based on lies. He's told Layla that he has a fancy schmancy job and is made of money. But in reality, he's a slacker who spends his days in his father's basement. It's not whether this loser is headed for a fall, it's a matter of when.
But while Dylan keeps up the charade of working at his bigwig job downtown,
I love you.
You too.
Have a great day.
You too.
he spends his days in his father's basement, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars trading online.
Dylan's basically back to square one. He's got no money, no real job, and he's racked up his credit card debt. But this time he has a lavish wedding he needs to pay for and a fiancée who thinks he's loaded. He feels pressure to keep up appearances, but weaved a web of lies so complex, he's got no way out. What's that saying? Desperate times call for? Oh yeah, desperate measures, that's it.
Despite the fact that Dylan promised Layla her dream wedding, he has no money to pay for it.
Hello? Yeah, that's me. All right. I'll pay the full balance tomorrow.
As the wedding day draws closer, the creditors come knocking. Dylan, having run out of options, goes back to Daddy, hoping he'll bail him out once again.
Dad, can we talk? Look, I'm sorry, but I need help. I've just got a lot of debts, and with the wedding coming up, it's...
But you're doing so well now, I don't understand.
I didn't want to tell you this, but I never did my certification. I've just been trading online.
You've got to be kidding me. What did you do with the money I gave you?
I invested it.
And?
I'm $250,000 in the hole.
What?
Look, Dad, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you, but things have been going so good. I wanted to tell Layla, but I can't go get a new job because she doesn't know about anything, about my past, about anything.
That's it. That's the last straw. I'm done with you.
I just need a little bit of money, and then I can win it all back.
Win?
I mean earn. I just need a little help.
Instead of money, Larry gives Dylan an ultimatum.
I've got an idea. I'll cover your debt. $250,000, is that right? All you need to do is tell her the truth. Come clean about your past and how you're broke now. And if you don't tell her, I will.
You can't do that, Dad.
Just watch me.
What you see here is a desperate man being cornered. And while Larry doesn't know it yet, he's just put one foot into the ring, and this fight isn't going to end well for one of them.
With his father threatening to reveal the truth about his life to Layla, Dylan becomes more and more paranoid.
Dylan, come here. I want to show you the wedding favors.
I'll be right in.
Backed into a corner and unwilling to tell Layla the truth, he comes up with a plan to fix his problems.
I've got no other choice.
He decides in order to keep the house of cards he's built from crumbling, he must get rid of the one person who can tear it down. His father.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This is a pretty big jump. He's gone from trying to salvage his pathetic little life to deciding to kill his father. But Dylan's always taken the easy way out, and this is no different. He's essentially a narcissist who's pretty much always gotten what he wants, and if something gets in his way, he either lies or gets rid of the problem. And in this case, the problem just happens to be his father.
Dylan puts his plan into motion and starts looking for a murder weapon. He can't buy a gun because of his previous conviction, so he buys a second-hand bow and arrow instead. He sneaks into his father's backyard and hides the bow and arrow.
Interesting weapon choice. If you can't get a gun, why not get a bow and arrow? Really? I mean, it's true they're deadly, but mark my words, they certainly aren't user-friendly.
The next morning, Dylan says goodbye to Layla as she leaves for work.
Hey,
I just have to send a couple emails, and I'll be right out the door.
have a great day.
You too.
Then sets about building a digital alibi that will send multiple emails while he's committing the murder. It's a simple plan that leaves a digital footprint, proving he was home the whole day.
I'm no computer expert. I barely know the difference between analog and digital. But according to the computer geeks at the FBI, a computer IP address creates a digital footprint that allows activity to be traced to a specific instrument at a specific location. You can create an alibi for yourself. Maybe not airtight, but good enough.
Dylan arrives at his father's home, hoping to convince him to keep his lies and criminal past a secret from his fiancée.
I know you told me that I should tell Layla, but look, I need you to promise me that you're not going to tell her.
Absolutely not. If you don't tell Layla by the end of the day, I will.
If you do this, Dad, you'll ruin me.
Dylan, the foundation of marriage is trust. You have to stop lying.
I just need a little bit more time. A little bit more time to sort everything out.
You've run out of chances, Dylan.
It's time to face some music.
No!
Are you gonna tell Layla or am I?
Neither of us.
Dylan, what the hell is that?
I told you neither of us can tell Layla.
Do you need some help with that?
No! I told you neither of us. You can't tell Layla,
Dylan,
you
give me
can't
that.
tell Layla, you
Give me
can't
that.
tell Layla.
Dylan attempts to hide his father's body when his sister Madison arrives home unexpectedly from college.
Dylan, what are you doing? Daddy! Why would you do this?
Don't tell anyone.
You're insane.
Don't!
Hello? There's been an emergency.
As Madison manages to get away and call 911, Dylan realizes the jig is up.
Dylan may have had a chance to pull this thing off if his sister hadn't shown up and blown his cover. Now, he's basically toast. Cops have motive, means, opportunity, oh, and an eyewitness. Almost makes me feel kind of sorry for the guy. Not.
Are you Dylan?
Yes, sir.
Did you do this?
Dylan confesses to his father's murder and is sentenced to life in prison.
Yo, can I get like a sparkling water in here?
Looks like Dylan's house on Easy Street has finally been sold. The thing is, Dylan wanted a life of luxury, but he wasn't willing to work for it. He was always looking for the path of least resistance. So when his father finally forced his hand and made him confront the truth, Dylan simply wasn't able to. In his mind, he had to keep the lie going, and if that meant killing his father and attempting to silence his sister, then so be it. The thing is, if he had used his smarts to make something of himself instead of thinking up scams for a living, he could be running a Fortune 500 company by now instead of wasting away in a jail cell. The truth hurts.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised.
Howdy, folks.
On this episode of Bizarre Murders,
Oh, my Lord Papa!
when a survivalist who's ready for the end of the world doesn't make it to the end of the day,
Murder weapon, most likely a revolver.
God-fearing members of his own family incriminate themselves.
So,
He was big, tall with muscles.
No, detective, he was a pipsqueak.
With an unbelievable story about the power of prayer.
Praise the Lord and baby Jesus.
Will the hand of God guide investigators to the truth?
Well, well.
Or are the innocent doomed to meet their maker on death row?
Keep your eyes open, keep your powder dry.
You're listening to Apocalypse Tomorrow Radio, folks. No station, no government regulation, just the free airwaves. And we're here with Big Pace Paxton.
Howdy, folks. Good to be here.
And he's going to tell us about his new book, Pace. It's 214 Days till Y2K. Are you ready?
Born ready, hoss, you betcha.
Big Pace is a former oil executive who's spending his retirement and wealth getting ready for the end of the world as we know it. His books on surviving the collapse of society have earned him a reputation as a man who's prepared for anything and everything. Like many survivalists, Pace believes that gold will be the currency of the future, once society has collapsed.
So what you're saying is computers everywhere will either shut down after Y2K or they'll develop their own intelligence.
Damn straight. You mark my words, the feds know it to be so. Well, thanks a bunch, everyone, for listening. I gotta go for now. But remember, keep your eyes open, keep your powder dry.
Big Pace is what we call a prepper, as in prepared for the end of the world. And preppers come in all shapes and sizes. Some are religious nuts, some are wild-eyed conspiracy theorists. But Pace is one of those rational guys who just happens to think everything will come crashing down in the near future. And hey, if you follow the news, it doesn't seem like such a crazy idea, right? So why not plan accordingly?
Unlike some survivalists, Big Pace is no recluse. He's a dedicated family man. And today, he's expecting his daughter and her husband over for dinner.
Darn thing. They must be early.
He started it, I swear.
You didn't have to take a swing at the man. He's your boss, for heaven's sake.
He called me a Bible thumper.
Next time, just turn the other cheek, dear, and thank the Lord he didn't fire you.
Pace's daughter Janice met her husband Josh at Sunday service 5 years ago.
Now, make yourself useful and carry this. It's cherry pie, Papa's favorite.
He'd been troubled as a young man, but found Jesus after a spell in jail for assault. Janice believes Josh is on the road to salvation, and she's going to make sure he stays on it.
Hold your horses. I'm coming. All right, I said hold your horses. Gee, what a racket. Hey there. Come on in.
Detective Clancy is a straight-shooting cop who lives to serve and protect. He's busy wrapping up some paperwork when he receives a call.
Clancy.
Local celebrity doomsday expert Big Pace.
What?
Has been murdered in his own bunker. Detective Clancy is aware of Big Pace's reputation and wonders how anyone got close enough to shoot him.
One to the chest, at close range. Slug, probably a .38 special. No casing at the scene. Murder weapon, most likely a revolver.
Detective Clancy asks Josh and Janice to describe what happened after they arrived at the bunker.
Well, Detective, he was making off with all my Papa's guns and gold.
It was two guys in clown masks. I swear.
Detective, it was a young Christian man who's gone astray.
So which is it? Clowns or Christians?
Janice tells Detective Clancy that the armed intruder was about to kill them, but changed his mind after the power of prayer stayed his hand.
So you're telling me you prayed your way out of this?
That's right, Detective. Praise his mercy.
Now, I've got more than a few out there stories to tell when it comes to cheating death, but even I'd find this one hard to believe. As an investigator, I know that the weirder a story is, the more likely it is to be a crock. What you gotta do is put that story under a microscope and see what it's really made of.
Okay, so who knew he had guns and gold on the premises?
Well, aside from ourselves, anyone who would have heard him on the radio or read his books. Oh, poor Papa.
Josh and Janice have described interrupting a robbery in progress, but when Detective Clancy examines Pace's bunker, he finds no evidence of it being ransacked. And there are no signs of forced entry, highly unusual in a burglary.
All right. Let's go downtown. I need to ask you folks a few more questions.
Of course, Detective, we'd be happy to. The Lord will guide us always. And we'll catch the man that killed my poor papa.
Indeed, we will.
Detective Clancy is your classic by-the-book detective, and this crime scene is straight out of Homicide 101. You've got a guy murdered in his own impenetrable fortress. Irony, no? There's no sign of forced entry, a targeted theft of guns and gold. To me, it all says Pace knew his killer or killers. For any investigator, the likeliest scenario is that these two killed Pace and tried to make it look like a robbery. So Clancy does what any good cop would do and places our God-fearing couple at the top of his suspect list.
Next up, Apocalypse Tomorrow Radio. For all you folks who think the feds aren't flying those black helicopters, think again. Big Pace is right.
On the other side of town, in a not-so-secure bunker, Bobby, another doomsday enthusiast, has a surprise for his girlfriend, Misty.
Bobby, this is one big-ass box right here.
Oh, baby, this big-ass box has more gold in it than the pearly gates.
Bobby tells his girlfriend, Misty, that he'd heard Big Pace on the radio talking about stockpiling gold and decided to rob him.
Praise the Lord, and baby Jesus, all that glitters.
Oh, my word. This is what they paved the yellow brick road with, I swear.
What?
The yellow brick road? Yep.
Oh, yeah, baby, except for our yellow brick road's gonna get us to a bunker. And with all this gold, we's gonna have the best bunker you ever done imagined. Plus, plenty left over for end times.
Just like Big Pace, Bobby believes that the world will end, but not because of a technical glitch like the Y2K bug Pace was preparing for. For Bobby, it's God's judgment that looms large. The world is soon to be punished for its sins, and Bobby is determined to survive it.
Baby, don't we already live in a bunker?
No, baby, this is my mama's house. I mean a real bunker.
Okay, well, as long as you promise me you didn't hurt nobody while you were bringing this stuff here.
No, baby, of course not. I cross my heart.
Okay.
That rich old man won't miss a thing.
Okay.
Oh, I love you, baby.
I love you, baby.
With their conflicting stories, Josh and Janice have made themselves Detective Clancy's #1 suspects.
So, what'd the intruder look like?
He was big, tall with muscles.
No, dear. Detective, he was a pipsqueak. He only looked big because he had a gun.
Any distinguishing marks?
Had a tattoo of a knife.
It was a Kaross detective. Even though he's on a fallen path, he still keeps the Lord close.
Right.
The inconsistencies in Josh and Janice's accounts of what happened only strengthen Detective Clancy's suspicions.
The standard procedure. Need your consent for a polygraph test.
In my experience, there's really no correct way to behave when you're being questioned by the cops, especially after a traumatic event. People do and say weird stuff. And for a lot of cops, anything that seems out of the ordinary can be a sign that you're lying, especially when they already think you're guilty. In law enforcement, we call this tunnel vision, and that tunnel can lead straight to a courtroom.
Male suspect. Clearly not truthful. Very nervous.
Although polygraph tests are not admissible as evidence in Texas courts, for Detective Clancy, the results confirm a theory.
Female suspect. Inconclusive. She's a cool customer, all right.
That level-headed Janice was the mastermind behind the staged robbery, while Josh, the submissive husband, was the trigger man.
Question is why? What's the motive here?
What I always say is, don't overpack your go bag. You're not headed to the beach, folks.
Baby, when you sell that gold, can we finally get a TV?
While the detectives focus their attention on Josh and Janice.
No,
Bobby searches online survivalist chat groups.
That's how the government watches you, you know that.
He needs to sell some of Big Pace's gold to fund his own bunker, and then he can hoard the rest for the apocalyptic future he's convinced is coming.
There you go. Keep your powder dry.
Big Pace Paxton. Hey. Bobby, how are you, sir?
Very good.
Bobby was raised in an evangelical household, and as a teenager became obsessed with the idea of Judgment Day.
Whoa, you look like you're quite a fan, young fella.
Yes, indeed, sir. I've read all your books, and I listen to you on the radio every night.
For Bobby, the world as we know it will end when the Lord Almighty passes judgment. For Pace, technology and big government will trigger the collapse of society.
Bobby, you say?
Yes.
Very nice to meet you, Bobby.
Oh, praise the Lord, sir.
And you.
The wrath of God, human screw-up. For guys like Bobby and Big Pace, it doesn't really matter how or why it all ends. They just want to be part of something big, and it doesn't get any bigger than Doomsday.
When Detective Clancy runs background checks on Josh and Janice, he discovers that Josh is a convicted felon who spent time inside.
Well, he has some priors.
Josh might be a church-going man now, but before he found a friend in Jesus, his gospel was the Miranda warning. Not mentioning a rap sheet makes it look like he's hiding something. Janice didn't bring it up either, and she's the one who keeps talking truth and cooperation. It's an alarm bell no investigator's gonna ignore. If Josh and Janice smelled fishy before, they're twice as fishy now.
Oh, hi, Detective. Come on in. Can I grab you a cup of coffee?
No, thank you, ma'am. Here on official business. Need to serve you this.
With no witnesses other than his prime suspects and no physical evidence to go on, Detective Clancy can't charge Josh and Janice with anything. But he has another idea.
A grand jury subpoena? But, Detective, we haven't committed a crime. This is outrageous.
Oh, no.
Just need you to come down to the station. We'll talk about it there.
By convening a grand jury, Detective Clancy can bypass the usual charging process and simply present evidence to the jurors.
We should have stuck with the story about the clown mask guys.
Have faith, dear. The truth will set us free.
The truth is what got us in here.
The jury is convinced there's enough circumstantial evidence to indict Josh and Janice for premeditated murder.
Please help us, oh Lord. Please free us and save us like you did before.
They're jailed until the trial date comes up.
Amen.
So how did that happen? Strange as it sounds, in a grand jury situation, the proceedings are secret, and defense lawyers and the accused aren't present. So they're a great tool if you're a prosecutor or an investigator, but not so great if you're innocent. And an indictment can sway a trial jury down the road. This is what can happen when the wheels of justice turn too fast. The wrong people can get run down.
The indictment of Josh and Janice allows authorities to search their house for evidence connecting them to Big Pace's murder while they're in the county lockup awaiting trial.
Well, well. For their hearts plot violence, and their lips speak trouble.
As a convicted felon, Josh is forbidden from having firearms in his household, and it's a revolver that fires .38 specials, the same type of gun used to shoot Big Pace. Clancy also finds bank statements that indicate that Josh and Janice have been moving money around, suggesting they're having financial problems.
The entire estate valued at over $3 million. Sole beneficiary, Janice. Well, well.
Now, most reformed felons would think twice about possessing a prohibited weapon. because that means a trip back to the slammer. But it is Texas, so maybe it's not too surprising. And who doesn't have to juggle money sometimes? But big paces will. For Detective Clancy, that's the clincher. I mean, nothing screams motive like a multi-million-dollar inheritance, right?
Josh and Janice have been in jail for weeks. While Janice's faith keeps her going, Josh has fallen back on old vices.
Josh, you put that out.
The Lord has abandoned us, honey. We're gonna get the needle for sure. The old anti-crime vaccine.
Now you stop that talk. Remember the words of our Lord Savior. Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
A lot of good that did him, didn't it?
He came back 3 days later.
Yep, things look pretty bad for Josh and Janice, and no amount of scripture's gonna change the appearance. What they need is nothing short of a miracle.
With Josh and Janice's trial only days away, Clancy is confident the jury will convict. All the evidence points to only one scenario: a staged robbery to deflect the attention away from the fact that they murdered Janice's father, Big Pace, for the inheritance money.
Clancy. All right, we'll send her in.
Detective, you gotta call it off.
Call what off, young lady?
The trial. You got the wrong guys.
Misty tells Detective Clancy she was at home alone while Bobby was at work.
There's gotta be some Oak Ridge boys on here somewhere.
Well, here on Apocalypse Tomorrow Radio, there's only 72 hours to go before Josh and Janice face the music in the Guns and Gold murder trial. They might have got the drop on Big Pace in this world, but he's reaching out from the grave now, folks. I hate to admit it, but even the authorities get it right sometimes.
Misty realizes Bobby lied to her. Not only did he kill someone to get the gold, but now 2 innocent people are about to pay for the crime. For the first time since Bobby came home with Big Pace's gold, Misty's conscience gets the better of her.
I believe this is what y'all looking for.
Misty tells Detective Clancy about Bobby stealing the gold, but he lied about not killing Big Pace.
Holy Moses. Well, this means that...
Misty's revelation has smashed the foundations of Detective Clancy's case against Josh and Janice. Despite all the apparent evidence and their suspicious behavior, Clancy is forced to admit that he has the wrong people in custody. Armed with Misty's information, Detective Clancy immediately switches gears. He arrests Bobby and has his room searched.
So can you tell me how you got your prints all over Big Pace's gold here?
He gave it to me. Yeah, he gave it to me to get a head start on the judgment. It's currency of the future right here.
Right, okay. So when I run ballistics on this gun we found in your place, what'll I find? Whether you talk or not, I'll tell you this right now. I see a whole lot of judgment in your immediate future in court.
All right, God's honest truth, I did not mean to kill him, sir. I just want some guns and gold for after the judgment. It was an accident.
Okay.
Bobby tells Detective Clancy that everyone in the Doomsday crowd knew Big Pace hoarded gold and was armed to the teeth. But he also lived in a fortress and was paranoid about strangers.
Hey there, young fella. Come on in, close the door behind you.
So he went to all of Big Pace's book signings and befriended him.
That's a bit of a surprise. Oh, look what you got here. You want me to sign that? Well, sure thing there, Bobby. All right, calm down. Calm down, Bobby.
Give me your gold. Give me your gold and your guns now.
All right, you calm down.
Now.
All right, you calm down. I'm gonna load them up right in here.
You hurry it up. Just hurry up, old man. I don't got forever. The end is coming.
Well, at least you got that right. Okay, there you go. Okay,
no offense.
Here it is. Now, hold on. Okay, how about you and I calm down.
Things were going according to plan.
Why don't we talk about this?
But Bobby had underestimated Big Pace.
To talk about. What have you done? What have you done?
And Bobby hadn't counted on company.
What do I do?
I don't know about you, but I'd think twice before robbing a guy who thought he could take on the end of the world itself and come out ahead. Big Pace died defending his castle, and even if Bobby says he didn't plan on killing him, he still showed up with a gun. Maybe if he'd asked nicely, Big Pace would still be alive, prepping for doomsday.
Detective Clancy is still puzzled by one thing. Why Bobby didn't kill Josh and Janice when they surprised him.
They were the only witnesses. You might have gotten away with it.
You know what? I was going to kill him. Let me tell you what. I was in a panic. Something fierce.
Papa, we're here. All right, we're coming in. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord, Papa. Papa. Oh, my Lord, Papa. Papa.
All right, get on your knees.
Who are you? What are you doing, my Papa?
Get on your goddamn knees.
Language, young man.
All right, now, I don't want to do this, but I have no choice.
No, please, God, no. I'm begging you. Oh, Jesus, I'll be good. I'm a changed man.
Hush! Young man, cast off these bonds of sin. Resist the enticements of Lucifer. If you're really going to pull that trigger, we need to pray.
Well, yeah, well, all right. Pray fast.
Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Deliver me, Lord. Strike all my enemies on the jaw. From the Lord comes deliverance, and verily all the sinners shall burn in the eternal fire. Amen.
No, it's all right.
Overcome by the fear of God's wrath,
It's gonna be all right. I've heard the word of the Lord.
Bobby tells Josh and Janice that he'll spare their lives.
But don't you tell a soul about this. Oh, so help me God, I will find you and kill you. No police. You hear me?
How are we supposed to explain my poor Papa there dead on the floor?
All right, you tell him there were two men that did this. Yeah, you hear me? Two men wearing clown masks. Two men wearing clown masks, yeah. Okay? Okay? And if you breathe a word of this, I will find you. Swear to baby Jesus. Close your eyes. Down, heads down. Don't move. Eyes down!
Praise Jesus, the Lord, have mercy. At least for us. Oh, Papa. I guess you've gone to your reward. Honey, call the authorities.
The Lord spoke to me, sir, and he said them's is honest, church-going folk. And I knew, sure as I sit here, if I killed them, well,
Would be an eternity in hell for me.
Well, you're in for an eternity of hell of a different kind for killing Big Pace. I'll tell you that for free.
Stand up, son.
Bobby is convicted of robbery.
Face the door.
And Big Pace's murder.
Hands behind your back.
Bobby's confession means Detective Clancy can release Josh and Janice, who have been languishing in jail for weeks. Their faith in God and justice sorely tested.
Detective, I've been praying on it, and I really think we need a new lawyer.
There's no need, ma'am. Fact of the matter is, you're both free to go. We caught the guy who killed your papa.
Sweet Jesus!
Thank the Lord, hallelujah!
Talk about a close call. Given the optics of the case, a conviction for Josh and Janice was all but guaranteed. Sometimes our justice system just swallows up the wrong people, kind of like a certain biblical guy who ended up in the belly of a whale. Like Jonah, our wrongly accused suspects lived to tell the tale, but it could have gone the other way. Law enforcement ain't perfect, people. The scales of justice can be off, way off. Big Pace was right. You gotta be alert.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders.
Oh my gosh, Patricia!
When a young hippie is murdered in her co-op.
Oh, help! Somebody!
Detectives turn to her free-loving friends to track down her killer.
Did you hear anything that sounded out of the norm?
No, man.
But when a strange clue leads to a dead end.
I told you I didn't do it, man.
They fear the summer of love might end with a killer going free.
So what was the motive?
Ashbury, San Francisco, 1970.
It's open, dude.
John is a straight-laced doctor, married to his homemaker wife, Leanne. He has 2 daughters who live in a hippie co-op in the heart of free love.
Hello, young man. I'm looking for Patricia and Susan.
Who?
Patricia and Susan.
Patty and Susie. Yeah, they're down the hall to the right, the room on the right.
Right. Thank you.
He's paying a visit to convince his daughters to leave the hippie commune and come back home to his safe suburban bungalow.
Girls?
But when he walks into the room, he makes a horrifying discovery.
Oh my gosh. No! Patricia! Sweetie! No! Help! Help! Somebody!
Detective Fredericks, a rookie with the San Francisco PD, is called to the scene of the crime.
Sorry, she's not good with strangers.
This is his first murder scene, and he's eager to prove his chops.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
He determines that Patty was bludgeoned to death with a lava lamp. He finds a bloody fingerprint and a man's glove lying in a pool of blood. He believes it belongs to the killer. He also finds a sketch of a young woman who appears to be Patty.
I remember when I was a new agent, so I feel Detective Frederick's pain. Your first murder investigation can be pretty intimidating, especially when you've got evidence that raises more questions than it answers. Did the killer go there with the intent to kill? Or was it a crime of opportunity? Was it a sexual assault or a robbery? And why did the killer leave behind a sketch of the victim? This is a challenging crime scene for a seasoned detective, much less a rookie. My advice, just 1 foot in front of the other, brother.
Do you know of anyone who had issues with Patty?
No, man. No, she was a sweet girl. No one would want to hurt her.
Patty's roommates tell Detective Fredericks that her sister Susie is on tour with her band, so Patty was staying alone in her room.
Was there anyone suspicious in the house at all last night?
We don't keep a signage sheet, man.
Society's rules aren't ours.
Well, did you hear anything that sounded out of the norm?
No, man. Actually, now that I think of it, I heard a scream.
And?
I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was one of the girls, you know, like getting it on. So.
And what time was that?
I was tripping, man. I wasn't taking notes.
Well, did the dog bark at all?
No. And you know what? The pooch is pretty vocal if she doesn't know you. I mean, you walk up and she'll just raise a holy hell.
So the killer knew Patty. Or else the dog would have barked.
If you say so, man.
As an investigator, I know there's nothing more annoying than unreliable witnesses, especially when they're out of their heads on weed and goofballs. But as always, man's best friend comes to the rescue. The fact that Poppy didn't bark signals to Fredericks that when the killer walked into the room, he or she was no stranger.
I'm gonna need to grab everyone's fingerprints before I leave.
Yeah, of course. We're here to help you, man. I mean, we all loved Patty. She was a sweet girl, man. Brother, chill out, man.
I'm not your brother, dude.
Oh.
Detective Fredericks determines that nothing was taken from Patty's room, so he's able to rule out robbery. The autopsy reveals there was no sexual assault, and time of death is estimated between 12 and 18 hours before she was found.
So what was the motive? I'm just gonna need your fingerprints?
Yeah, of course.
Detective Fredericks brings Patty's father, John, down to the station for questioning.
Can you think of anyone who would want to hurt your daughter?
She spent her time with a lot of seedy characters, so who knows who she came into contact with.
And how was your relationship with Patty?
Strained, to be honest.
Is that so? So you had a strained relationship with your daughter. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about that?
We had this big fight a couple of months ago.
John wants his daughters to go to college, find a nice man to marry, and become homemakers.
What the hell is going on in here?
Dad, you can't just barge in on us like that.
It's my house, my rules. When you start paying the bills, you can make the rules. Give me that.
You can't take
You
that.
need to stop hanging around with those hippie types.
Dad!
But it's the summer of love, and Patty and Susie don't want to conform to society's rules. They aren't interested in landing a husband or pumping out babies.
You're throwing your lives away with this lifestyle of yours.
Patty wants to be a model, and Susie wants to play guitar in a band.
You girls should move to Iowa.
He threatens to send them to live in the Midwest with their grandmother if they don't shape up.
Okay, you know what? Don't even worry because we're already gone.
Where are you
We're
going?
We're leaving because clearly you don't want us here. Here, puppy. Come on. Come on. Let's go.
Don't think you can come crawling back here.
We won't.
You're gonna regret this.
Susie and Patty move out of their parents' house,
Suze, that sounds groovin'.
Thanks, man.
cutting off all ties with them.
Hey, are you gonna finish rolling that blunt or what?
I want to make sure it's perfect.
Susie and Patty are doing what a lot of kids, including myself, did in the 70s. They're ditching anything that even resembled their parents' life and are embracing peace, love, and of course, weed. My parents aren't going to see this, right?
We didn't see eye to eye on almost everything.
Where were you last night?
Home alone. My wife's visiting her mother.
Do you have anyone who can verify your whereabouts?
Like I said, I was home alone. You don't think I did this, do you?
John's relationship with his daughters was anything but peace and love. And while it's hard to imagine a father killing his daughter, trust me, I've seen stranger things. It's not too far-fetched to think that he went over there to convince them to come home. They refused, their fight escalated, and he simply lost control. Case closed.
I'm gonna have to ask you to do something for me, sir.
Detective Fredericks asks John to try on the glove the killer left at the scene of the crime.
Doesn't fit.
If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Remember that line? Yeah, that's one for the history books. But despite the debacle that was the O.J. Simpson case, it's still a good way to help eliminate a suspect. Back when I was starting out, technology was limited and DNA databases didn't exist. So these elimination techniques might seem a little old-fashioned, but it's all we had.
The results of the fingerprint test confirm that neither John nor any of Patty's roommates are the killer.
Well, I guess that settles it. You're free to go.
Find the person who did this.
Sir, I promise you, I'm doing everything I can.
Looking for a new lead, Detective Fredericks pores over Patty's diary. It reveals that she had affairs with 8 men over the last 6 months.
He took off my blouse slowly and then started to slip off my skirt.
The age of Aquarius, with all of its free love, does not bode well for murder investigations. The song I Get Around was popular for a reason, you know what I'm saying? But for cops, the problem with too many lovers is that you have too many suspects. And too many suspects means a whole lot of confusion.
As he nears the end of the diary, Detective Fredericks discovers something that piques his interest.
Yesterday, I met the coolest cat at an art show. His name is Davy. An hour after we met, we shagged on the carpet.
Detective Fredericks learns that Davy is a well-known artist in the hippie scene who has a studio downtown.
Bingo.
This is what I call a good day in Copland. It's basically a lead that could crack the case wide open. Detective Fredericks knows that Patty was likely killed by the person who drew the sketch of her and left it at the murder scene, and who she knew intimately. And lo and behold, the final entry in her diary is about a lover who also happens to be an artist. As investigators, you never rely on getting a lucky break, but when you do, you thank the detective gods and move on.
Davy?
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry to tell you that Patty was killed a couple days ago.
Detective Fredericks, determined to solve his first murder case, believes he may have tracked down the killer.
I can't believe that. This is tragic. How could such a bright light be extinguished so soon, man? Patty, what do you mean, man? That's terrible news.
Is Patty your girlfriend?
Girlfriend? What's that even mean, man? No, we just had this connection. It's this vibe, you know?
Sure. Where were you Tuesday night?
I was at an artist's retreat in Mendocino, man. I just got back this morning.
Detective Fredericks, suspicious of the convenient timing of Davy's retreat, asks him to come down to the station for further questioning.
I didn't hurt Patty, man.
We'll see about that. I just need you to do something for me. It'll just take a second.
I told you I didn't do it, man.
While Detective Fredericks runs Davy's fingerprints, he asks him to try on the glove. Detective Fredericks is informed that Davy's alibi checks out.
You're free to go. But before you go,
The detective shows Davy the sketch that he found at the scene of the crime, hoping for some insight into the mind of the killer.
by looking at that, can you tell anything about the artist?
That's no artist, man. That's an amateur. You dig?
This is the frustrating part about detective work. Dead ends. Detective Fredericks now has 0 leads on this would-be artist/killer. Back to the drawing board.
Later that day,
please have a seat.
Susie arrives home from her music tour after hearing the news about her sister.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
What happened to Patty?
Detective Fredericks tells Susie that they think Patty knew her killer, and he may be an amateur artist.
Do you know anyone that fits that description?
No, everybody loved Patty.
Anyone she worked with or lived with?
Well, there was this one guy. His name was Jeffrey.
Susie tells the detective that she remembers a wannabe artist who used to live in the co-op.
He was really creepy, and he always used to follow me around and sketch me.
Does this look familiar at all?
Yeah. That's me.
Whoa. Detective Fredericks thought the sketch was Patty. If it's Susie, that's a whole different ballgame, or peace circle, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, Susie's revelation opens up a whole can of worms. You dig?
Are you sure that's you? What makes you say that?
Because I have tons more just like that one.
Oh.
This is what detectives call a whopping curveball, for lack of a technical term, and for a rookie detective, that's a pretty big setback. So now he's left with the big question. If the drawing is Susie and not Patty, then why was it left at the crime scene?
Susie's a musician, I'm not good.
Oh, no.
Hey, man.
Hi.
Welcome, dude. It's good
Hello.
to see you, man.
How's everyone doing?
Sit down.
Hi.
Hey.
Susie tells Detective Fredericks that a guy named Jeffrey used to live in their house.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hi, I'm Susie.
He would sketch portraits of her all the time.
Would you mind if I draw you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
Despite his lack of talent, he thinks he's the next big thing to hit the art world. He doesn't let anything come between him and his dream until he meets Susie.
You're very beautiful.
Thank you.
At first, Susie is flattered, but soon, Jeffrey can't seem to draw anything other than Susie.
Susie.
And starts to follow her around the house.
Can I draw you? The light is so beautiful in here.
Yeah, I guess.
I thought you wanted to draw.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
You call yourself an artist? Dream on.
Eventually, Jeffrey's attention turns to obsession.
Jeffrey,
What are you doing?
Sorry, I was just...
Go away.
I'm sorry.
Susie can't go anywhere without Jeffrey's eyes and a sketch pad following.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
I'm just...
Get out, you freak!
You're so beautiful.
Get out!
This is borderline stalker behavior, but here's the thing. A typical stalker doesn't bring their sketch pad along for the ride, so Jeffrey's got more serious issues going on, and one way or another, that means trouble for Susie.
Sorry, brother, that's crossing the line. You gotta go.
I just can't draw anything else but you, Susie.
That is not our problem, Jeffrey.
Peace, brother.
Jeffrey is eventually kicked out of the co-op.
He gave me sketch after sketch after sketch, and I never knew where to put them. I just threw them in my closet. I probably have hundreds more just like this one.
Detective Fredericks tells Susie that he'll need to collect the sketches for evidence.
Okay, but if he was obsessed with me, why did he hurt Patty?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I don't know.
Patty wasn't cool with Jeffrey stalking her sister, so he could have been looking for revenge. Or maybe he thought that Susie would give him more time if Patty wasn't in the picture. Or maybe Jeffrey's not the killer at all and he's just an eccentric artist. Detective Fredericks already made the rookie mistake of assuming, so he's going to be careful this time.
With no registered address for Jeffrey, detectives ask Susie to work with a sketch artist to compose a physical likeness of him.
Here you go.
And the cops plaster it all over the city, hoping someone will recognize him and turn him in.
The thing about the 70s is cops didn't have the technology that we have today. This is before social media, where you could find a digital footprint of a perp within seconds and track them down. Back then, you had to do a lot more legwork. Think of this as an old school Facebook. Cops want to tap into a social network, and the only way they can do that is by posting his face in the areas a wannabe hippie artist would hang out.
Meanwhile, Jeffrey, amateur artist extraordinaire, believes he has just killed the object of his obsession and is finally free to explore his creative genius.
Hey, Kathleen.
Wow, you're smiling.
I feel great. I'm so ready to unwrap the true artist inside me. You know?
Cool.
This guy is fooling himself if he thinks he's headed for greatness, with or without his muse. I know I'm just the man, but even I could draw a better banana than this low-rent Andy Warhol wannabe.
Fearing she may be taking an art class with a killer, Kathleen makes a phone call to the police.
Yes, hi. I'm not sure, but I think I'm sitting next to the guy in the wanted poster.
Detective Fredericks gets a phone call from a fellow artist who believes that Jeffrey, who's wanted for questioning in the city's latest murder, is in her art class.
Is your name Jeffrey?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to come down to the station with me for some questioning.
What for?
In connection with a murder. I'm just gonna show you a few things.
Detective Fredericks tries to pin the sketch found at the murder scene on Jeffrey.
Recognize that at all?
No.
How about this one? Or this one? Or this one? This one? How about this one? Should I continue?
Okay, it's my artwork. I like to draw Susie. She was beautiful.
Why was one of your sketches found at the murder site?
I don't know.
Detective Fredericks asks Jeffrey to try on the glove that was found at the scene of the crime.
It doesn't fit.
Try pulling a little harder. Well, strike 3 for you. Are you ready to talk?
I had no choice.
What do you mean?
I would never become the artist I was meant to be with her alive.
As a motive for murder, it may sound far-fetched, but obsession can do strange things to people and can actually cause them to lose sight of reality.
Jeffrey admits that the moment he met Susie, he was overwhelmed by her beauty and talent. His admiration soon turned to infatuation.
Jeffrey, what is this?
This is Susie.
He becomes unable to think about, much less draw, anything but Susie.
This is a still life class, not a portrait class.
But she's my muse.
Make the fruit your muse.
His art teacher tells him that he'll flunk out of her class if he doesn't learn to draw the basics, and never amount to anything if he continues to draw the same model over and over. A frustrated Jeffrey tries to master the basics, but no matter how hard he tries, he's only able to draw Susie. Jeffrey becomes more and more obsessed until he eventually becomes unhinged.
I can't take this anymore!
Finally, in a desperate attempt to erase Susie from his mind and become the Picasso he knows he can be, he makes a drastic decision.
I have to get rid of her to free myself.
So this takes the phrase tortured artist to the extreme. He somehow believes that if he just gets rid of Susie, he'll be able to release his artistic genius and become the next Van Gogh. Wait a minute. Didn't Van Gogh cut off his ear before he went mad?
Hi, Poppy. Hey.
I can't take this anymore.
I have to get rid of her.
I have to destroy her.
To free myself.
I can't take this anymore!
Good riddance, Susie.
Having freed his tortured mind, Jeffrey is able to move on and explore his creative genius.
What I don't get is, if you're so fixated on Susie, why did you kill her sister, Patty?
I didn't kill Patty. I killed Susie.
No, you killed Patty.
No, I killed Susie.
No, you killed Patty.
No, I killed Susie.
No, you didn't.
When Jeffrey sees Susie, he realizes the full extent of his fate.
No.
No! No! No!
Whoops, that's one you can't take back. What do you when you've just killed the wrong girl in order to free your inner artist? You rot in jail, that's what you do. To everything there is a season. And this cool cat's gonna be chilling in prison for a very long time.
After confessing to killing Patty, Jeffrey is convicted of first-degree murder. He is sentenced to life in prison.
In Jeffrey's mind, his potential as an artist was somewhere between Da Vinci and Dali if he could only unleash it. His obsession with Susie and the fact that he could only draw her convinced Jeffrey that if he could only get rid of his muse, he might finally master his art. In reality, his true talent probably lies somewhere between narcissism and delusion. And now it turns out Michelangelo is not only stuck in jail for the rest of his life, but he's also trapped in a prison of his own mind, doomed to draw Susie forever. Peace out.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised.
Town sweetheart goes missing and everyone is a suspect. Could it be the married man she was seeing on the side? The irate customer who won't take no for an answer? And why is her brother being so helpful? When every new avenue leads to a dead end, police will have to put this puzzle together piece by piece. Appleton, Wisconsin, 2007. Gloria McLean had long been Appleton's pride and joy. Having spent the majority of her childhood on a semi-popular 1990s sitcom, she was as close to celebrity as many in her town would ever encounter. After her stardom faded, Gloria returned to Appleton to attempt a new life. She graduated from school with top honors and eventually settled into a new job running the loans department of the Appleton Savings Bank. Even when her life was going at a meager pace, she continued to be the favored daughter of her town. So, everyone in Appleton was quick to notice when Gloria went missing.
When somebody who's very loved in a community goes missing, it's not surprising that people want to come out and help, and they come out in droves. But the problem you have with that is that sometimes they're not doing things that the police would actually have them do, and it causes more problems than it does help.
After 2 nights of Gloria's absence at home, her brother Paul McLean files a missing persons report to the local authorities. Paul McLean managed to be everything that Gloria was not. After a prank on his sister went horribly wrong, Paul sustained a back injury that made his confidence take a nosedive. He could no longer play sports, and school did not come easy for him. He began to isolate himself, obsessing over Japanese anime, and spending his free time testing new combinations of sodas. Knowing he was the ridicule of the town, Paul sought to prove everyone wrong by attending the local community college, but at a much more deliberately slow pace. Since Gloria and Paul's parents died, the two have lived in the old family house. Gloria always worried about her brother's financial state, and since the house had already been paid off, it was easier for the two to just continue living there. Until Paul graduated college, of course. Paul reports Gloria missing with great concern and distress. When asked if he knows of anyone who might kidnap his sister, he responds with one name: Darren Tooley.
Anytime anybody goes missing, the first thing detectives are going to focus on is that person's inner circle. The second thing they're going to do is try to whittle down the list of suspects. But Darren is not going to get marked off this list.
Detective Diana Cox leads the case and begins turning her attention towards Darren Tooley. Police learn that Darren is an artist and local celebrity, often found painting in the middle of the town park. Darren has also been married to his wife, Jonah, for 10 years. She's a real estate agent, and recently, she and Darren have not been seen together in public for quite some time. Now detectives understand why that is. Paul believes Darren has been having an affair with Gloria. While Detective Cox began tracking down Darren Tooley, Paul starts making missing person flyers to help find his sister. Police are skeptical of Paul's efforts. The town has long considered Gloria and Paul's relationship a rocky one. Paul's guilt at holding his sister back only amplifies the fact that he constantly lives in Gloria's shadow. It's difficult to tell if Paul is doing this out of love for his sibling or just a familial obligation. Detective Cox arrives early to Darren Tooley's house and finds his wife, Joanna, relatively at peace, as though she is entirely unaware of the possibility her husband could be cheating on her. Joanna tells Detective Cox that Darren was headed towards Gordon Bullboy's nature preserve, but that's not out of the ordinary for him.
If you have a friend who comes up to you and says, "I need to disappear without a trace for a long period of time," raise the red flag if it hasn't already been raised for you. That's strange. And Darren decides that he has to do that. I bet he's finding some pretty good inspiration elsewhere, don't you think?
Detective Cox sets out for Gordon Bullboy's nature preserve, but she finds that Darren is not listed among the campers at the park's registration. She returns to the station with a new idea. She goes through Gloria's credit card payment history as well as her recent phone calls, but there is nothing out of the ordinary that Cox finds worthwhile to investigate. Later that day, Paul McLean returns to the station after one of his classes to infer how the investigation is going. Detective Cox gives him the only theory she can compose. She believes that Gloria and Darren have likely run off together. She explains that with no evidence, no body, and no witnesses, it is difficult to assess whether Gloria ran away or was kidnapped.
When you're dealing with the family of a missing person, the amount of information you give them is critical. Nobody needs to remind Paul what the other option is.
It's gonna be all right.
Paul becomes visibly upset, claiming that Gloria would never run away so long as she had to take care of him while he was getting through college. Detective Cox does her best to control Paul's explosive temper and tells him to continue trying to call Gloria over the next few days. Paul leaves disgruntled, but not at a complete loss. Later that day, Detective Cox receives a call from someone in Memorial Park claiming that they found a suspicious package that they believe police should investigate. Police arrive on the scene to discover a sizable suitcase lying near a large electrical tower and River Creek. Carefully, they pop it open, only to find a sight that sickens them to their stomachs. Detective Cox pops open the lid of the suitcase and finds a woman's naked torso. After they recover from the ghastly sight, they quickly bring in the body to test it for fingerprints or some kind of identification, but they find neither. With no security cameras surveilling the area, police question nearby witnesses, but nobody claims to have seen who dropped off the suitcase. And many note the smell kept most of them from even approaching it. Police then ask if they know who it was that called them to the scene, but no one steps forward claiming they did so.
0.
Detective Cox warrants a search of Gloria and Paul's home, hoping to find either DNA evidence or something else to give them a lead. But when Cox arrives, she discovers that all of Gloria's suitcases are gone. and that the entire house has been cleaned from top to bottom, except for Paul's room, which is a total mess. Paul tells Cox that Gloria was a neat freak, and the week before she disappeared, she spent nearly all her time spring cleaning the entire house, but he didn't let her touch his room. Cox is astounded as she's unable to find any DNA that could possibly help identify if the torso in the suitcase belonged to Gloria or not. They search her bathroom for toiletries but found that they have been cleared out. Cox asked Paul if he ever saw her packing her suitcase, but Paul claims he never saw anything that would suggest she was going traveling.
Detectives have just found a torso in a suitcase. This is either somebody who's too good at faking their own death, or it's a murder victim. They have obviously the torso's DNA, but there's no match with any database, so they have no idea who this person was.
Not wanting the investigation stalled, Paul tells Detective Cox that he remembers hearing his sister complaining about a customer she had at the bank. The customer was screaming at the top of his lungs and making a big scene. Detective Cox visits Gloria's bank and pulls up a list of customers that she had previously denied loans to. There she finds the name of Tim Sparks and calls his cell phone number.
Hello, it's Tim.
Tim, a repentant con man with a history of business scams, answers, and Cox asks him about his involvement in a scene in the bank just a week ago with Gloria McLean. Tim is surprised to be asked about the incident. Detective Cox asks him if he would be willing to come down to the police station for an interview.
Yeah, that's a problem. Currently, I'm unable to move or walk.
When Cox presses as to why, Tim explains that after he exploded on Gloria in the bank, he was so angry on his drive home that he got into a massive car wreck that broke both of his legs. He says he will be in the hospital for a few weeks and will be unable to drive due to his broken legs and lack of car. Cox looks up Tim's medical records from the nearby hospital to discover that his story is true.
What they thought was a break in the case turned out to be just another dead end. If this guy was in the hospital the day after his fight with Gloria, how can he be responsible for her disappearance? I mean, look at the guy. He's got broken legs. He's got no mobility. He can't drive. He could have nothing to do with it. And if he had dumped it in the park, somebody might have noticed a hospital bed.
Then another anonymous call comes in with a new tip. A new suitcase has arrived in Memorial Park. Detective Cox finds the suitcase on the other side of the park under a tree, a long shot away from where they found the torso. Preparing for the worst, police open the case, rearing back at the sickening smell of two arms cut off at the shoulders. Cox is quick to get the parts to the lab as they have to make sure that the arms are a match with the torso they found days earlier.
No prints could be taken because whoever did this burned the fingerprints off. The first thing you want to do, though, is match that arm to that torso, because if they don't match, you don't have one dead body, you have parts of two.
A blood match confirms that the arms and the leg do, in fact, belong to the torso discovered days before, but the question of who the torso belongs to still hangs in the air. To make matters worse, police have still been unable to find Darren Tooley, who is now the investigation's only notable suspect. As Detective Cox is about to head home for the evening, she is stopped by a man who has just entered the police station. He said that he desperately needs to speak with police, and he's carrying a suitcase. The man in the police station identifies himself as Darren Tooley. the man police assume is having an affair with Gloria McCain. Darren claims he just got back from an artistic journey in the wilderness and that when he returned home, a suitcase was waiting on his doorstep. He says he has not yet opened the suitcase, but his wife told him to immediately come to the police station in order to clear things up. Detective Cox interrogates Darren while her forensic team analyzes the suitcase. When they open it, they discover a leg that is cut off at the hip. In the interrogation room, Darren repeats his claim that he was waltzing around in the wilderness the past week and that he hadn't talked to Gloria in nearly a month.
Darren's alibi is convenient. In fact, it's too convenient. Try walking into a police station and telling the detective I couldn't have been involved in the murder because I was out alone in nature getting inspiration. This is the look you'll see on the detective's face.
To get an interrogative advantage, Detective Cox has her team bring in the contents of Darren's suitcase. Darren is appalled to see the body parts and immediately turns pale white. His story quickly changes. Darren admits that he wasn't in the wilderness the past week, but he also didn't kill or kidnap anyone. He had spent the last week living with a different girlfriend at her apartment in Chicago. He claims he broke up with Gloria a month before because he was worried she would find out about his new girlfriend and that Gloria would tell his wife, Joanna, about his many affairs.
It's a very damning story, but not anything beyond what someone would say to get out of prison for murder. I'm just going to give you one word: corroboration. Somebody's got to corroborate it.
Okay, I'll even give you a number.
Darren gives Cox the phone number of his Chicago girlfriend, Rebecca. Detective Cox calls Rebecca and is told that Darren's story is true. But Detective Cox wants more evidence. Anyone can have a friend lie for you. She asks if Darren has a receipt for his plane ticket, but Darren gets quiet.
You're seeing another girl.
Darren explains that a different girlfriend bought him the plane ticket to Chicago.
This is unbelievable. I mean, how many girlfriends does this guy have? I can imagine the police are probably in there saying, I hope it's this guy, because I want to put this sleazeball away.
Detective Cox allows Darren to call his third girlfriend, and an email receipt of his plane ticket is sent to Cox's account.
You can go.
Yeah.
With another lead effectively flushed down the toilet, detectives are stumped at where to turn next. They decide to set their sights on the only other person they believe could be involved: Gloria's brother, Paul.
Looking for my sister Gloria, who's still missing.
Detective Cox finds Paul out about town making a video plea for the people of Appleton to be on the lookout for Gloria. In his arms, missing flyers that have been stapled all over. Paul explains to Detective Cox that he has been putting up flyers after class every day. Detective Cox asks Paul if he would be willing to come in and answer a few more questions.
I don't understand why can't you just ask me here?
I can have.
Paul flips into a rage. He screams that no one is taking him seriously and that interrogating him is a waste of time and resources. In his anger, he throws down the flyers. Detective Cox becomes even more suspicious about Paul's outburst.
It's not normal for an innocent person to flip out when they're asked to assist in an investigation. And when that happens, it raises a red flag.
Detective Cox finally manages to convince Paul to come in for questioning, though Paul says he will only do so if he is allowed to drop off his things at home. Cox reassures him that his personal possessions will be just fine as she leads him to her cruiser. As they enter the station, Paul asks if his bag will be searched, as is the usual protocol at a police station. But Detective Cox says she will let it slide this once, hoping to gain his trust back. Detective Cox instructs another detective to take the bag into the evidence room, but not to open it until she gets permission from Paul, because she needs a warrant to do so on her own. In the interrogation room, Paul is visibly nervous and shaken. Cox recalls that every time she has seen Paul, he has been dragging his backpack behind him. Paul confirms that he has a rolling backpack due to his back injury, and every time he has seen Detective Cox, it has been after he has finished up a class. But Detective Cox brings up something that Paul hadn't mentioned when she was visiting their house. The past week was also the local community college's spring break, meaning that he was lying. Paul turns pale white. Detective Cox asks Paul if he's hiding anything in the bag he has been carrying around. With a heavy sigh, Paul agrees to allow the forensic team to look through his backpack. Detective Cox gives them the go-ahead to check the bag that Paul has been guarding so suspiciously. The forensic team opens Paul's bag to find a terrible sight. Gloria McCain's head.
Hey, I did it.
Paul confesses the people of Appleton knew the bright side of Gloria, but they didn't know her dark side, and that she was prone to violent outbursts. The night of her disappearance, she came home from work and flew into a rage, blaming Paul that he was the reason Darren dumped her.
You ruined my freaking life, Paul. Seriously. Darren left me. Mom and Dad are dead. I have nothing but you.
She claimed that Paul was responsible for everything horrible in her life, and even leered out and smacked Paul across the face. In his own fit of rage, Paul struck his sister in the back of her head, killing her. Instantly regretting his actions, he cut her body up and placed them in old suitcases, dropping them off around the town and at Darren's house, hoping to implicate him as the real murderer.
Every once in a while, a case is so bizarre, so unreal, so inhuman, that it shows once again the truth is stranger than fiction.